I am a marriage commissioner, or what they would refer to as a justice of the peace, and it gives me great honor and privilege to today open the first session in what I call wedding etiquette. As a marriage commissioner, I receive a lot of questions about how this should be done, how that should be done. Really, it encompasses the whole topic, which is wedding etiquette. And this is the first in a planned to be long series of relatively short topic sessions in which we're going to be exploring all the different facets of planning and working with all the different disciplines and having the best outcome for your planned wedding. So let's get to it. What is etiquette and who cares? This is a great question. The original meaning is that etiquette is a ticket providing that the bearer knows the rules and is required for admittance before you get through closed doors. For weddings, a lot of information about polite good manners emulates from an individual by the name of Emily Post, who for many years offered suggestions for polite American manners. And we'll be drawing on a lot of this material as we work through these sessions. Of course, whenever we're dealing with weddings, it's a combination between the two individuals of the cultures that they come from, and so we always have to take into account interesting cultural aspects that can interface and become part of your wedding arrangements. So today we're going to be talking about planning. So who should be the first that has the good news about your engagement? Well, there's a bit of a protocol involved, according to Emily, and that is if there are children from past marriages, they should be told first. Then the immediate family, both households, should be told second. And then you can proceed to close friends, especially those that you want to ask to become part of your plans and to participate in your wedding service. And then we can move to social media, pictures on Facebook, all those kinds of things. But really there's a bit of a proper flow of protocol to think about and to work with. Then you have to start considering a lot of key facts. What's going to be the date of the wedding, which could be influenced by a lot of different factors. One, availability of a venue that you're looking for, not only for the wedding itself, but for the reception. Sometimes couples will have them in the same place. Is an officiant available in the time slot and time that you're looking for? Often officiants like myself accept bookings a year or two in advance, and so that has to be taken into account. Of course, the availability of family members, maybe some are out of country, and what can be done to allow them to participate, though there are new options through video conferencing today that were really never there before, but they are there now. And of course, whatever the plan is, the patience of the couple to tolerate, can they wait a year or two as the date approaches that has been set out in the plan? So all these are things to think about. There are different people that can participate. A lot of people now work with wedding planners. This is relatively new. I would say something that emerged in the last 10 years. It wasn't there before traditionally, and in the 40s and 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s, there were no wedding planners. But in the latter part of the 1990s, the millennials, there is and there has been established quite firmly a cadre of individuals that refer to themselves as wedding planners that do outstanding work. And they're very good at helping the couple to define the event style. What is and how is the wedding going to be conducted in terms of style? Because there's a lot of pieces that fit together with this, as well as the reception. Of course, the officiant for the couple, there are choices. One choice is to have an ordained minister in a church Usually if you're booking a church, it comes with the minister preset. And so that's one way of going. And if you go this route, be prepared that you might have to do some sessions with the minister in advance to prepare for wedding day. And the alternative choice in most jurisdictions is government appointed justice of the peace, or what we call in Saskatchewan in Canada, a marriage commissioner. This person, like myself, is an appointee. They're appointed by the Crown, and they're actually an officer of the court, appointed through the Ministry of Justice or the Attorney General. Of course, other participants include assistants to the betrothed couple. And I gotta be very careful here because times are changing, terminology's changing. I refer to now as the two legal witnesses that will accompany the bride and groom, or the, shall I more accurately say, the two individuals that are getting married. And the legal witnesses, can be referred by traditional titles such as best man, matron of honor, but these titles are not necessarily guaranteed, depending on the circumstance. They must be over 18 years of age to serve as legal witnesses, especially in my jurisdiction. You can have certainly other friends and families involved. You need to have people taking on the roles of being ushers, which is usually not well organized in most weddings. How is the reception of your guests handled? Are there greeters? Again, not a well-handled area, a little sort of an afterthought in many cases. And of course, a master of ceremonies, who is the person that will take on the role of leading the festivities, at the reception just before, or maybe just after the supper, which is served at most receptions. Other individuals you need to think about is the music person, the DJ. Now, there's two parts of this, because you'll need one person, it may not be the same person, who's handling music that takes place during the wedding service itself, music to bring in the groomsmen, music to bring in the bridal assistants, music to bring in the bride themselves and their escort, music for the signing, music for the recessional. So the bride coming down the aisle is referred to as the processional, and the bride with their spouse exiting the wedding service, that's referred to as the recessional. Of course, you may want to think about who's going to be the caterer. Will there be a meal for the reception? And that's not always necessary, depending on how you plan things. We'll talk about that in future sessions. And if there is a meal, maybe there's going to be what they call a late lunch. I've never understood that term. That's served, just before midnight, usually, food that is set out in a manner where you make your own sandwiches and that type of thing. Of course, you're going to need to think about limousine service, which I've seen at times during different years as working as a marriage commissioner. I've been doing this now for nearly 15 years, and there have been years in which the limousines, something has happened, there's been a bankruptcy, one service is out of the system, and everyone is scrambling to pick up the pieces, and people are late, and it's just, the idea of the limousine service is to have some level of assurance that everyone's going to arrive for their roles on time. Of course, the florist, flowers for the bride, boutonnieres for the participants in the wedding party. Things to think about. Is there going to be a backdrop to the wedding service, a wedding arch? Is the wedding going to be recorded? And there's many players now. There's photographers, there's videographers, there's now drone camera people. At the reception, people are operating photo booths. We'll talk about this. And, you need to think about an Instagram account for all your guests to send their pictures. And now, with the current state of affairs, the introduction of live streaming of wedding services for friends and family that can't attend a current service. You need to think about a backdrop for the head table, chairs at the wedding service, how are they going to be removed, how are they going to be set up. Again, these are not well-handled areas from my observation. Policies about serving alcohol, you need to think them through. how our invitations going to be handled. Traditionally, a lot of money was spent putting out invitations in the mail with very fancy cards, and now a lot of people just do this by email. But we'll talk about that in sessions to come, and maybe setting up a gift registry, simple things like who's going to make the centerpieces for the tables at the reception. What about the wedding cake? Will it be cupcakes or will it be a full cake? There's lots of choices here. Things to think about. So this is the first in many sessions. Trust me, many sessions that are coming. This is just to whet your appetite. And if you like the whole idea of learning more about wedding etiquette, please press the like button. If you want to see the sessions, and I plan a lot of them, I have a lot of material to cover here, feel free to subscribe to this channel and you will be updated every time I make an addition to this series of infomercials, if you will. That's probably not an accurate statement, but I'm going to be disseminating a lot of information because as a marriage commissioner, I see a lot. I see a lot that it works and doesn't work so well. And at the same time, when people ask me for wedding etiquette, I've made it a point to acquire that knowledge over the years. If you have any questions, fire away. Just put them in the comments section. I look forward to receiving them. And trust me, there'll be much more to come. So until our next session, I wish you every success for your special day.